Hey there guys, welcome back to a new day and a new video here at Fit Life with Alicia. Okay, so I am really excited about this video today. I'm excited to share with you my top 5 tips for getting off of sugar. But first, I just want to thank you guys for coming along and watching this video with me today. Now, before we get into these tips, I just want to specify a couple of things, and that is that number one, I am not an expert in any way on this. I am just sharing my own personal experiences and what's worked for me in the hopes that it could be useful and helpful to somebody out there who is also wanting to get off sugar. And when I talk about getting off of sugar, I believe for a long time that I have had an addiction to sugar. However, I am not 100% off of sugar. I have just cut way back over the last few months, and my life has dramatically improved in a lot of ways. And last week I made a video about the 5 major life-changing benefits that I have enjoyed since cutting way back on sugar. And I'm gonna link that video somewhere up above in case you wanna watch it if you haven't already. Also, when I'm talking about sugar in this video, I'm mainly talking about like desserts, sweets and treats and candies, that kind of thing. Those are things that I have been, I think, addicted to for a long time, and they're things that I have relied on for a long time to help me through the ups and downs of life. And while I really enjoy eating those things, they don't make me feel good, and they have really wreaked havoc in my life and in my health and even in my relationships. So it became really important a few months ago to figure out how to get off of sugar. And last but not least, I am in no way perfect at doing any of these things. I just do them consistently, and I feel like that has been really key in having success with this. Okay, so let's get right to it. Number one, I feel like might be most important in getting started with getting off of sugar or breaking a sugar addiction, and it is this. I feel like it's been really important for me to come up with a really strong and powerful why for getting off of sugar. Why do I want to do this thing that is really hard? Why do I want to get off sugar when I enjoy it so much? Well, for one, sugar doesn't make me feel good. Too much sugar does not make me feel good. Eating it too often makes me feel tired and grumpy and low energy and brain foggy and headachy, and there's just all these like really not great effects that sugar has on me that I was kind of just used to living with for a really long time. And when I stopped to look at the kind of snowball of negative effects that sugar was having on me and really having on my family, because it made me feel grumpy and frustrated and ornery, and then I was grumpy, frustrated, and ornery with them, it was time to take a good hard look at that and do something about it. And so looking at all those negative effects really motivated me to be able to come up with that why, or those whys that have helped me stick with this. And my whys have really helped drive me forward when I felt like this was too hard, or when I got off track, or when I wanted to give up. And there was a lot of those moments, and I still have them, just not as often. But in the beginning, that why helped me power through when I wanted to give up or when it was too hard. And so I highly recommend sitting down and really thinking about why do you want to get off of sugar, and thinking about those really negative effects that it is having in your life and how it's affecting you and your health and those around you. So figuring out that why, you might not know right off the bat, but if you take some time to really dive into all of this and think about it, I bet you can come up with a powerful why that can help you as well. Okay, here is number 2, and that is starting small. Now, I know that I have had a lot of failed attempts at this over the years because I tried to start too big, and I would get really overwhelmed, and then I would get off track really fast and really easy, and then I would feel bad, and I would kind of have a pity party like, oh, this is too hard, I can't do this, I'm so weak. But as I look back on those attempts, I was trying to do too much too soon, and that was setting me up for failure. So this time around, I have tried to start smaller, creating smaller, healthier habits around this, and then building on that. Once I got 1 or 2 habits kind of under my belt for a while and I got good at those, then I could create another one and add it to that. So for instance, say you like to eat a bowl of ice cream or 2 bowls of ice cream every night before you go to bed. What if you just did that every other day? Could you get through one night knowing the next night you can have your ice cream? So you kind of have to tailor this to your own needs and look at what's one way that I can cut back on sugar that feels manageable and not too hard yet. And then just keep making those small changes over time and kind of just putting them together. And over time, small changes grow into large changes and big progress. And I have found that to be true for myself, so give that one a try. Okay, so number 3, this one is super important, and I don't think any of us can do this if we don't do number 3, and that is dumping perfection. You guys, we have got to take perfection out of the equation when trying to make any kind of major habit changes in our lives. And that especially applies to this particular situation. I know for me, for a long time, I've had many failed attempts, like I talked about, because I was expecting myself to do it perfectly. Logically, I know I'm probably not going to be able to do it perfectly, but unconsciously, somewhere in my head, I expect myself to do it perfectly. And then when I get off track and I don't do it perfectly, then I beat myself up about it. I feel bad for myself. I have a pity party. I have all these negative feelings. I feel ashamed. I feel frustrated with myself. And I have all these like negative feelings and thoughts and things rolling around in my head that make me feel bad. And then guess what? All of those things tend to drive me back to the habits and the behaviors that I am trying to change. So expecting perfection of ourselves is really just setting ourselves up for failure. And when I wrapped my head around that and started giving myself grace when I messed up and forgiving myself and just leaving those mess ups in the past and looking at the here and now, what can I do right here, right now to help myself? And thinking about how do I want to feel? What do I want my future to look like? And when I focus on those things and leave the mess ups in the past, I'm able to kind of pick myself back up, get back on the horse, and get going again. Okay, so get rid of perfection. It does not do anybody any good. I promise. I have tried a lot, and I think that this one is universal for everybody. Okay, so on to number 4. This one is really cool for me and has been kind of an unexpected find in these tips, but I'm excited to share this one with you. And that is this. It has been really important for me to recognize and accept that this journey is going to be, number 1, hard, and number 2, I'm gonna have cravings and I'm gonna miss this food that I'm trying to cut way, way back on. Before, in the past, I would try to ignore those things for one and just like white knuckle it through. If I can hang in there long enough, if I can do this for long enough, maybe this won't be so hard. Maybe these cravings will go away. Maybe I won't need this food anymore. Maybe I won't miss it anymore. And I would just try to like push it to the back of my mind that this is hard. And when I just accepted that, hey, this is hard and it's normal that it's hard. Hey, guess what? It's normal that you have cravings. You're trying to break an addiction, really. And so it's normal that you're going to have cravings and that you're going to miss this food. That doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you a weak person. It makes you normal, okay? Everybody struggles like this. You are not the only one. I was not the only one. This is a normal part of trying to break an addiction. Everybody goes through this when they're doing something similar. And when I gave myself permission to just accept these truths and to recognize them, it was almost like I was able to kind of like settle down. There was almost a peace that settled over me when I would kind of have this pep talk with myself that, hey, it's okay, this is normal, there's nothing wrong with you, you're not weak, it's just normal, end of story. It kind of took that power away from those things, away from it being hard, away from those cravings. Like all of a sudden, I just didn't feel as heavily weighed down by them, if that makes sense. And I oftentimes, not as much as I used to in the beginning, but I still have to kind of have that talk with myself that, hey, it's okay if this is hard. Hey, it's okay if you get off track. It's normal. Hey, it's okay if you have these cravings and you really miss these foods and you really want them. It's okay. You're normal. There's nothing wrong with you. So the next time you're struggling with this and you just feel weak and like, oh, I can't power through this, have that little pep talk with yourself. It's okay. I'm normal. There's nothing wrong with me. This is just the way it's going to be for a little while. And I definitely don't struggle with the cravings nearly as much. They just don't have that power over me that they used to. Again, give yourself grace. Be patient with yourself. And with that being said, that leads me into number 5, and that is be patient with yourself. And I think that's just a given through all of these tips, is to just be patient as you try to figure out your why. Be patient as you try to make a plan and start small. Be patient when you mess up, because you will not do this perfectly. Patience has been key for me in this. I just know as I am patient with myself and forgiving of myself and give myself grace when I mess up, it's much more easier for me to get back on track and to keep going with this. So I would add maybe one bonus tip in with this as well, and that is be consistent with these things. Like I said, do not try to do this perfectly, but just try to do these things consistently. And I know for me, as I have tried to just be consistent with this, that has been key to my success as well. Okay, so I hope that these tips could be useful for anybody out there who is trying to do the same thing as me. And even if these tips maybe don't resonate with you, or maybe they aren't useful to you, I think the takeaway that I would like to have people really get out of this is that it is possible to break an addiction to sugar, or to cut way back on the sugar like I've done. And you just have to kind of keep at it, keep working, and you'll figure out what works for you. If I can do this because I am nobody special, I'm just an average Joe, anybody can do this. I fully believe that. But if you don't know where to start, give these tips a try. Be patient, be consistent, be forgiving, dump perfection, figure out that why, and I bet you can have success with this as well. There is a beautiful life, lots of energy, a higher quality of life beyond sugar if we'll be willing to do the hard work that it takes to get there. Okay, so that is all I have for you guys today. Once again, thank you so much for coming along and watching with me. If you thought this video was useful, if you liked it, I have other videos that are similar to this. I am on a journey to better health, better wellness, higher energy, and just a higher quality of life. And if that resonates with you, please consider liking, subscribing if you haven't already. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and I will see you back another day with another video.